Ho, good afternoon. Welcome to Smudcast 390. Why? Question mark. 10 overused anime tropes that need to die. And this, capital need. Need. You can't just say need. You have to capitalize words so they make sense to other people on the YouTubes. All right, this video came out. Oh, it just came out a few days ago from Foxen Anime, a group or YouTube. I've never heard.
Something fresh.
Yeah, I've never heard of these guys. Has almost 600,000 subs. This has almost 17,000 views. And it's got, 1.2K upvotes, 56 downvotes. Interesting. Something's happening here. Now, everyone here has probably watched anime. They know a whole bunch of patterns and tropes and stereotypes they enjoy and things they don't enjoy. And we have all different reasons why. So, to put a list of any hierarchy is kind of difficult unless you're looking at the most overly used. And that doesn't make it bad. It just makes it redundant. It makes it, how are they going to use it this time? So it depends on how the trope is used and whether or not that's indicative of the genre it's part of or the style it's made from. So there's lots of patterns that we can look at and say, okay, I don't like the fact that there's another zombie horror story where there's all these zombies and there's like millions and millions of zombies, and they never stop coming out. There's no explanation, and it's just one big shoot 'em up fest for the heroes. The heroes never run out of bullets, blah, blah, blah. All kinds of stories like that. That's my thing. And that is not too applicable to anime. There's not too many zombie stories like that in anime. I'm sure there are. I just don't care because I don't watch the genre. But that is my thing. I just don't like zombie story patterns. They bore me. Some fantasy ones do as well, but sometimes with anime, it just works. And maybe...
I think I can tell kind of what he's going to be talking about just off this thumbnail.
Yeah? Let me see the thumbnail.
Usual Puritan bull.
Yeah? Okay, well, for me, the big actual anime tropes I remember, and it's even in manga too, the second biggest one I could think of is anytime a male or female gets aroused, for whatever reason, the blood flows to their brain, heats up their sinuses, and their sinuses rupture to the point of blood spewing out of their orifices. I'm like, okay, that's stupid. But...
It can happen, but it is a very rare thing.
It is... It only happened to me once when I had heat stroke and I was a kid. And that was weird. It wasn't because I was aroused. So I get the idea that it's...
How do you know that?
Because I'm not stupid. So I get the idea that you're so excited and you get embarrassed that blood rushes to your head. I get that visual because you see people's faces getting red and like a thermometer, it pops up. I get the visual. I like the visual, but it's overdone and it takes away the maturity of the scene when a person is actually embarrassed, and it plays to the sensibility of the Japanese people and their sort of reservedness. But people aren't like this in reality. So it has this weird sort of childlike visual I don't like. And that's just overused because guys should be attracted to women. Women should be attracted to guys and vice versa. And it should be normal. It should be, oh yeah, this makes sense. The girl who's been with you all this time either confessed her feelings or I don't know, dropped her pants or something. And it's like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. But apparently not. You have to bleed from it. So, and the first one, which I think we could all agree, but maybe you have a more hated or more repetitive one. No matter whether it's a martial art, whether it's a magic, whether it's a fantasy story or whatever story it is, every anime character has to announce what they're doing. And there's two reasons for this. One, it tells the audience without backstory, without understanding what's happening. So if they summon like fireball and there's a little fireball coming out of your hand, it's like, oh, I get it. He's doing that thing with the magic to cause the thing to happen.
Yeah, I think you correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think this is a translation from manga to anime, because in a manga you can just write the title of the technique somewhere. It doesn't need to imply that the character is shouting it.
That is
in anime. The probably just translated that over there.
Well, no,
And said, "Oh, we need to announce the thing."
It's either
like in the manga.
No, it's either narration. It's either a icon, meaning the word is spelled out into the universe just for the audience, or it's an actual piece of dialogue. Either way, it's done for the sheer fact of needing explanation for what's going on without having to explain the lore, because a good story would already have explained that chapters before, saying they're part of a magical school, magic exists, there's all these tiers of magic, and there's casting methods, and you have to have pentagrams and all these other incantations. So in one way, I'm like, okay, there's the lore reason, but this applies to everything, and not just magic, but like some guy with his technique, how to swing a sword. But it
happens a lot in Kenshin.
Yes, this has been done for decades, not just the past isekai phase of anime. This has been done almost since the beginning. Like Sailor Moon is notorious for doing this. It's just over the top, constant. Give me a title of a thing you're doing, which is like, that doesn't tell me much aside from you're using makeup to transform into something, which is the actual title. Like,
also not necessarily a trope, but also kind of connected to this is the reuse of shots. See that a lot.
Oh yeah,
that's also kind of why that happens a lot. Is we get first introduced to the technique, and then that same animation is used over and over and over again.
Well, that's for all these transformation magic spell, even the giant robot transformation things. That's why they have interchangeable backgrounds with that, or neutral backgrounds with just flashing colors.
Right.
Because that's filler time.
Okay.
That's filler time for the episode.
I'm getting a bunch of donations. Did you guys want to list yours that you were really sensitive over, that you know of? Tropes that sort of irked you, or you say, hey, you know what? It's very common, but I don't mind it. Like, which is yours?
Not off the top of my head.
Oh, okay.
That thing's not working properly anyway. Today.
All right. Well, hopefully the top of your head will get better. Okay. We got a few donations. Here's Roan Hirushin. Sounds like an anime dude. Thank you, Roan, again. $10. Woo. Let's start this Smudcast with a yang. Also, oh boy, anime tropes, I'll get the vodka. Yeah, that's a good idea. I would get the orange juice, a little bit of Galliano, and have yourself a screwdriver, but that's just me. Kyle Rocket. Thanks for the one. To be fair, unless it's Entai or Shimoneta, a boxing world where the concept of dirty jokes doesn't exist. Sorry, a boxing world? What the hell's a boxing world? I know what Shimoneta is.
Ding.
I mean, I know what Shinometa is. I'm not sure what he means by boxing world. He might have censored something in the title.
Okay, maybe. They can't exactly show the guy with a boner or pussy juice running the girl's legs. Yes, they can, and they have. So they went with
and the quill.
But that's not your standard anime.
Yeah, some of the mangas are pretty explicit. That's true.
Which anime contains this? I'm very interested.
I don't know if it's been translated, but definitely the more ecchi animes or stories. So that would be
ecchi anime. Okay.
Yeah, anything with bodily fluids that like breast milk and this and that. They don't shy away from that sort of stuff.
The Berserk manga gets pretty close sometimes.
Yeah. So it depends on what the audience they're making the thing for, and the censors know what they're doing. Because obviously some animes are way too adult and mature to have bodily fluids spraying all over the place. But anyway, JS, thank you for the donation. Iron Rule of Anime. Always let your enemy power up his special move. That goes with everyone though. I think everyone has that power up.
Yeah, but that's because anime fights are turn-based.
Oh, I didn't think of that. That's a good point. A lot of JRPGs are turn-based too. It's true.
The time flow in anime battles is also convoluted as hell.
Yes, we got.
It's where the satire trope comes from the counter shot while the magical transformation is going on and the other characters are standing around waiting, looking at a watch or something.
Right.
or the other version of that joke is countershot, and one of the either heroes or villains then just shoots the person who's doing the 10-minute long incantation, transformation, whatever.
The one that reminds
Oh,
me of that
remember
trope.
that one episode during the Frieza saga was like, or not one episode, but like 3 episodes was like 10 seconds.
Yeah, they're just in the air, just about to hit each other.
Because there was no manga to adapt, and they were stalling.
One trope I remember that did get on my nerves, and I saw it many, many times throughout the years. Not as much as I thought. Was the triple take? Someone does a thing and it happens a second time from a different camera angle, and then another time from a different camera angle.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely. That I hate that one. It can be used right, but that is difficult to pull off.
This one's not a
There was
trope.
something recently that I saw that had done it right. I don't remember what it was, but most of the time it's just bad. It's just annoying.
This one's not necessarily a trope, more of a localization issue, where we get the broadcast version of the show, so during scenes the brightness of the screen is artificially darkened and it just looks really bad.
Well, the triple shot is on part a pacing thing. You need to get the impact right. The angles need to be interesting in which you do them, or if you just do the same thing in quick succession from the same angle to create an echo effect or something. I don't know what to call that. But most of the time I see that in American productions.
Really?
Yeah, when in action scenes in American productions, whether it's movies or series.
Yeah, it happens a lot over here.
Wow.
It's usually either comedy or action.
Interesting. I did not know that. I thought it was mostly in anime, because that's what popularized it, and people like that for whatever reason. And
it's mostly with the boss impact kill.
Well, it's someone does a big attack or whatever, like in Naruto, and it happens 3 times. I remember, what was it, Food Wars? Yeah, it was right at the start of Food Wars, and he says, "I'm Joichiro's son, and this, we have a diner, and yada yada," and the professor knocks him down.
I'd imagine the root of this is actually the fighting games, because that happens a lot in those. You get the
Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
Well,
but
that's
you can do that with escalating shots, for example, not just different angles, but you take every shot you do, every repetition, you take with a wider angle from further away. That can increase the impact depending on how you do that.
But can you really blame video games for doing it? Because that's just to emphasize that you won.
Yeah.
The most classic thing I can imagine is the hit first is the hit, and the second one is from further away where you see the whole house shake, like BAM! And then third iteration is you see the planet go BAM! That's a version of the triple shot, but it's better applied, I'd say, though in a comedic fashion most of the time.
Anyway, yeah, those are the top 3. Not the top 3. Those are the 3 ones that irk me the most. And I don't know what he's going to list, but it's only a 10-minute video, so it shouldn't take that long to go through. So, anyway.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And he's got subtitles. Look at that. Isn't that great?
Wasn't that great?
I like subtitles. Okay. Let's go.
Just
Annoying
helps,
anime trope cliches. So what's up guys, Foxen here. Today let me go ahead and share these, and I know at least one of these will be a hot take for you. So definitely smash that like to make the YouTube overlords happy, and do let me know if you agree. And a special thank you to this week's sponsor, World Flipper. This long-awaited hit game from Japan is coming out globally. It is a nostalgic pinball game with the Japan's touch of an action RPG game.
Has anyone ever heard of a nostalgia pinball game? I'm just...
Can we just skip this?
It looks like generic mobile game number 5000.
But it has anime.
Yeah, with boobs and pinballs.
Yeah.
It has
They
anime
always
and
try-
gacha elements.
Must
probably.
spend
They
money.
always try to find new ways to invent pinball games.
Guess what?
I guess.
Fuck you and your anime.
Pinball. Like, what else
What-
can you do with it?
I wonder what the Japanese title of World Flipper is.
Look, it has cute cat girl in the top left corner.
Yeah, I know.
You must buy it.
Okay.
Fuck you.
You must buy it and dump $800 into the gacha.
Tiger girl, even.
So it's not even
Right.
10-minute video. It's like.
Oh no!
I think you're skipping parts of the video now, Smud.
All right, I rewind it. We're good. Let's go.
Click down below. Kicking this off, the overpowered generic main character, Isekai Edition. I know you're familiar with this one.
Okay, so having an overpowered character is not inherently good or bad. It's how it's done. The problem with that is that usually the pattern that I've noticed, it's always well, not always, but most of the time, it's the heroic, mild-mannered Japanese young man who gets the
it's the
nosebleeds.
blank slate for
He
self-insert.
doesn't have much of a personality, so people can project themselves onto them.
Exactly, and the isekais I enjoy are the opposite of that. It's usually non-overpowered, and they're like an engineer or they're an adult male in a younger body, so they're very mature. So it makes sense why they are the way they are, and they don't take advantage of women unless it's a revenge
And
story.
I wouldn't call this an anime trope either. This is just something that came from fan fiction, I think, and it's just
That's a good point.
permeated throughout fiction.
I'm kind of
Yeah,
interested also, like, what does he mean by it needs to die? Like, it just...
He's tired of it.
Well, it's so annoying. It's so
Tired of
annoying.
it.
It should be discontinued so that there's room for something new.
Right. The thing is,
And
like
that
what, though?
some of
that's
these...
that's the thing. When you constrain yourself and say, I am not going to use this tool, this tool, this tool, this tool, this tool, you will force yourself to make something new that you may not yet know what that is. For example, if you start designing clothes and you give yourself the rule to never use buttons, or because you detest buttons, then your clothes will have a distinct look to them because you have a constraint.
Yeah.
And it's like hardware limitations of consoles. They force you to write better code. The thing is, his problem is a specific combination.
Right.
High power, and blank slate.
Right, so...
And I can agree to that because that can be easily annoying because there is nothing to that character.
Well, yeah, that's
I
dependent on the
personally
show.
don't care about the power level.
Yeah, it depends on the show. Like
As
one of
long as it's
those,
a character.
one of the characters is the princess of a kingdom, and that's the when a realist can rebuild the kingdom. Like he gets called into the isekai world, but he has no powers. He's just a guy, so he has no special powers. But he's appointed the king, so he's given all these judicial powers or whatever powers you want to call a king has. But he ends up transforming the world because he brings all his knowledge of how to irrigate and organize economies and this and that. So that would be considered overpowered by standards of a legislator or someone who's organizing society. So it's like, okay, but it's not. He's not jumping around and punching planets, right? He's just organizing society.
Although I do know
Log
an
Horizon
example
has
of that.
an overpowered protagonist who's pretty good too.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
he's mainly. Yeah, but that's lots of the characters from Log Horizon are from top tier raid guilds that got into that world, and he's one from the unorthodox raid guild, and because they always try new strategies, that's why they can be top at the very top because they are not just playing by the rule book of here this top tier raid guild does this tactic, so let us do that and learn that strategy against this boss. No, they're the people that far ahead that they are the ones coming up with the strategies, and he is the main character is the master strategist. He is thinking through everything. That's what makes him so powerful. It's not his combat abilities, it's his managing of everyone.
Yeah, most of the fights in that anime aren't just bare knuckle brawls. You see that bit, but then you see Shiro on the back, and he's managing people's health and MP and all that other stuff.
And positioning and coming up with new formations and all of that. And of course, the preparation for a raid. If you've been in a bigger raid guild in your time, if you've played something like that, you know that for the normal raider, it's just showing up to the raid time and doing your stuff as you're told, follow the plan. If you're the raid leader and part of the managing crew, there's so much more to do.
Well, that's one element.
Yeah,
that's one because there are stories like that. Like I think the most overpowered character, not most overpowered, but the most crazy overpowered is like it's about this kid in a high school. He has a sister who's also really strong, but he's like above all of them. I think it's called the honor student of some high school, and there's a bunch of clips of him online for the past years where he's just overpowering everyone. But usually, because he's the hero character, we want him to beat the bad guys because the bad guys are so nefarious. So it's like, okay, no one else can defeat the bad guy. All the other students at the military academy are losing. We want to see the hero win. We don't know how, though, because it's magic. It's literally a school of using magic, and he uses a gun of some kind to activate his magic and all these other crazy things. So the trope can still work, provided it's not obnoxious. And it's the level of detail for us for our brains to wrap around the fiction to go, okay, he's using all this crazy stuff. He must have learned it in the past. He's going to school. He's beyond the teachers and everyone else, so he must have learned it. So there's like enough explanation for my brain to say, yes, this is fine. He's a genius. He's an expert. He's whatever. So
there was another show too, Chivalry of a Failed Knight. That one had an OP protagonist, but he was OP in a way that was trying to think of the word unconventional for his world, because it's a magical world, but he's really strong.
Yeah, the one on the screen, and there's a title I don't remember, Moonlight Isekai or whatever. It's the one with the cross, the red cross. Like he came from Earth, but his parents came from that world. So he's naturally born with this weird magical power, but because he was on Earth, it suppressed his powers. So as soon as he went to the new world, all his power was released, and the goddess gave him a curse of some kind, so he could speak to all the bad monsters or the monster world. And the monster world isn't evil; it's just the monster world. But he befriends them, and he's so powerful. He has to put on all these rings and gauntlets to suppress his power. And you want him because he just wants to get by. He just wants to live there in peace, which are most of these stories anyway. It's like, yeah, I don't care about being a god. I just want like potatoes and corn and to live with all my waifus over it. Like that's all they want. You're like, great, cool. And this guy is just trying to get by, but he has these two servants of his that he befriends who are like dragons and demon spider or whatever. And they turn to hot women, of course. And he has to suppress his powers all the time because he's so strong, but he doesn't know how to manipulate it. So
yeah. And above that is oh god, forgot the name by now. The show's probably finished by now. The girl from villain. She's reborn as a villainess in a romance novel, a visual novel, and so there's no actual. There was no classical gameplay there, and she doesn't have a blunt character, I would say. And she's not. Is she overpowered in that?
No,
thing?
she just writes books and she makes popcorn.
Oh, I remember she has a garden.
Yeah.
She wants to, and everybody finds it weird that she, as the noblewoman, wants to plant vegetables.
She just wants to make money.
Yeah. So and she does have an interesting character. Her personality traits are having discussions in her head. Yeah, that's an unconventional one. I wouldn't list it here. This is a list of the interesting ones.
Yeah. So
another anime that I wouldn't call like amazing or anything, but Anifuredo was also another one with an OP protagonist that was pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
That was explained. It just got what's the word? It got stupid. What's the show just became?
It became a harem, eventually.
That's all it became, and it's just like, oh, he's the angsty dude who wants revenge, and then there's all these chicks surrounding. It's like, why is the bunny bimbo here? Why the big titty bunny bimbo? Why are you here? There's no reason. She just loves the guy. Like, why? You saved my village. It's like, yeah. Don't you have a life?
Can she cook?
No, she's useless. She just has a big hammer.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I liked from the rather straightforward animes in that direction that went very much comedy, whilst at the same time being very sincere and gritty, which is something that I think only anime can pull off right so far. Was the overly cautious hero.
Yeah, that
who was just power leveling in secret, or in recluse. Refused to go on adventures before he had hit max level and stuff like that.
It's great. I love it.
And it's just so overly cautious that in order to just make sure that the first mini boss wouldn't regenerate, he incinerated the entire town with a nuke-like spell.
You know what? If that was Rey from Star Wars and she was like, I'm not going to do this shit. I'm going to figure out how to train first. And she trains and trains and trains and trains. A year goes by and she's like so ridiculously strong. She's like, no.
And then being able to pull off the Starkiller moves.
Well, yeah, maybe she's not even confident with that. She's like, no, I got to train some more. She makes another year just for the sake of it.
That would be interesting.
Years have gone by. The First Order is like really strong now because no one stopped them. So she's
Rey steps out of the shadows and she's built like a JoJo's character.
Yeah. That's an interesting plot, because her insecurity made the galaxy fall to darkness, while she could have saved everyone already, and then she comes out completely overpowered.
Yeah.
Then, I'm late. Sorry.
And she's so scared of Luke Skywalker, so he's probably even stronger than me. I don't know. I'm not going to visit him. He's going to kill me. So she never goes.
She's driven by insecurity.
Yeah, it'd be great, fantastic. Yeah. And then we see her do amazing stuff. It's like, oh, that's awesome! Holy crap, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, and the interesting there's a very nice twist at the end of Overly Cautious Hero. That gives a hint on why he is like that.
See, if they did that at the start, I would have liked it.
It would be boring.
No, because then we know what's going on, and everyone else doesn't. And the what's her face, the crazy goddess, which is just obnoxious.
I don't know. I liked it that way.
She was another Aqua, but pink hair or whatever. And
yeah. Well, she was more sane and grounded than Aqua, but the general type, yes.
Yeah. And then they both figured out together at the end. You're like, oh, that's why he's like that. Okay.
I like that.
Well, yeah, it was dramatic,
I liked it that way,
but it took so long to get there.
But it was a good. I'd say it was a good ride. And if it hadn't been a good ride, then maybe it would have made more sense in the beginning. But I think this fits because it gives the ending gets this emotional elevation. Like 3 times, and you get.
Oh, I'm glad it exists.
Get a higher level.
If that was the reveal, like what they should have done is start off with that, and then do even more reveals as the story goes on.
No. Because the ending implies a much more dramatic second season, whether that ever gets made or not.
I don't know. Anyway, good anime, fun to watch.
That's then fixing her mistakes.
Yeah. Well, redemption for the idiot. Yeah, I don't know.
Redemption for the idiot. That sounds like a good anime title. For an example that fits into his category, I tried to watch Isekai Cheat Magician, and my god, was that bad. There was really no character was likable or interesting, and they're all overpowered. And they know it, and they find it boring themselves, but nothing fills up the story that makes up for that.
I think I tried reading that. I didn't get very far.
And if the show doesn't catch me by the 6th episode, so I really try. I give crap chances, because some things they really need more than 2 or 3 episodes to get rolling. But if by episode 6 you can't do it. And whether that's a 12 episode thing or a 24 episode thing, if by episode 6 you couldn't pull it off, then I'm sorry. I usually power through stuff, but that was just not bearable.
All right. Anyway, let's get back to
overpowered to
overpowered heroes being bad.
Especially with this summer anime season, where we have like 10 isekai anime splooshing all over us. You know the main character, he looks super generic, and after getting a date with Truck-kun, the guy gets this overpowered ability. Character-wise and personality-wise, after that there's not too much to it. And yet despite that, you do have this guy collecting chicks just like Pokemon. You could definitely let me know which is the worst offender for you for this. One that stands out for me is a Isekai cheat magician. Thankfully, we have gotten enough Isekai anime, where you do have some awesome shows that clearly show...
Yeah, but all you have to say is I don't like the anime. Not the pattern, because the pattern if this guy knows his anime, there's multiple uses of the pattern that you could point to that say, yeah, this is pretty good over here, because they don't just do that pattern, they do a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah. What Isekai Cheat Magician lacks is something that balances out these elements. It's not funny, it's not dramatic, the world is not interesting. There's nothing compelling about this general setup. When it's just this general setup, that's boring. It's like, okay, you have your standard meal. Can I have spices with that? No. Yeah, but I need the spices for the meal to be interesting. Because the whole setup with, in this case, the Isekai thing, with overpowered hero and possible bland self-insert, and I think this Cheat Magician does it with the male and the female lead at the same time. So you have two boring characters. It's just a bland meal. It's not going anywhere with that. That's can't eat that. You need to put something on the bread, not just the bread alone.
All right, let's continue.
It is possible to have this overpowered main character and still have this interesting story and character. Another anime where you had this potato of a protagonist for me was Princess Connect. Like, come on, just get rid of this character and this anime could hit hard. The random big boobed onesan. You know what I'm talking about. At this point, I feel like it's become quite a staple.
Wait, what's wrong with this?
There's always that.
What's wrong with this? This is why we watch anime. What are you doing?
What's wrong with the
Shut up.
boobas?
Why you hate boobs? Why are you misogynist?
Wait, how is it?
Why are you a misogynist?
What's wrong with boobs?
Big
Why are you sex negative? Why do you want to forbid these women to have their natural bodies?
Yeah, what? You see that's a trope and that needs to die? We need to stab the boobs?
This much just immediately. This is why we watch anime.
Yeah, you try leaning out a window with those knockers.
It's a fantasy.
Why are you trying to...
That's gonna get stuck at the edge. That hurts, man.
We want to watch a fantasy, guys. We want all the fantasy elements that are attracted to us. This is like number 1. Okay.
Number 2. I don't like big titties.
The whole joke here is that, for example, Goblin Slayer isn't even sexually interested in her, as far as I remember.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a Sigma male. Okay.
And well, no, he's just completely emotionally scarred, and all in his mind is must kill goblins.
And he's gay.
No, he's not gay.
Asexual. He's asexual at least.
No, he's just broken.
Well, okay. This is what happens in the harem animes, that you get so many women. It's like, what do you need, sir? You have the lowly, you have the big-breasted, whatever. You got the magical dragon princess. You've got the elven princess. Like, you got all of the format. Why aren't you touching them? What is stopping you? And it gets silly.
In many anime, the large-breasted female character isn't even part of the harem. It's just a side character. That is some MILF type or something. That is
and on occasion
warm-hearted. So if it's not a villain, it's a warm-hearted. character on the side that is not sexually available to the main character.
Right. The thing is, like, there's a manga called Death March, and there's, I don't know, like 10 or so girls, and 2 of them are kids. So it's like, okay, they treat them as the daughters of the group, but the rest are all viable, and they are just dripping over the guy. And he just wants to be a merchant. He just wants to go around and find some stuff and make some potions, and then he whips out this ridiculous arsenal, but that has not happened for like the first chapter. Like, he has all these weapons, but he doesn't use them, and he just keeps going on his business. And you're like, okay.
I know he needs to keep feeding 10 women.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They go on. They travel between town to town. They hunt. They cook the food. They teach each other how to cook, and someone learns how to sew, and someone learns how to fish, and everyone's working together. And that's the life. And it's like these 10 girls. You're like, holy crap! Like, what's going? So, and nothing happens emotionally, which is weird. And it's a fun little manga to read because it talks about the details of the world, like the plants they find and the food they make, and all the lore and world building you're expecting. But the actual stuff of like, do these women, like, do they have dreams? Are they just there for following you? Like, what is going on with these people? So that's the problem I have.
In the chat, Godzilla clears up that Goblin Slayer had a crush on her before the trauma, and after the trauma, he became Fantasy World Batman.
Yeah. That's
also from the chat, Hawk. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. What is wrong with boobs? That I don't have my face in more of them.
I don't understand these guys being annoyed by boobs.
Guys,
I don't get it.
Because they want to get in feminist. They either want to get in feminist pants, so they put on the.
Because feminists don't have large boobs.
If you're an animator and drawing spheres that are moving very quickly is fun, okay? It's just
but it doesn't a woman draw these pictures? I mean,
everyone draws them.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's like, I really don't understand a guy getting upset about this. At least like a straight guy, right?
Remember the video of the kid last time? There was virtue signaling halfway and the other half making sense because he doesn't really know what he's talking about. And then it switched to this Indonesian woman that complained about male gaze crap and all of that stuff. While drawing an utterly over the top, actually unrealistic body shape girl as she was complaining about the male gaze.
I don't remember that. I don't want to remember that video.
I love it. These people are amazing.
Absolutely insane.
All right. Anyway, we got some.
I mean, I can understand like, I have a problem with sexualization, I guess maybe, but
usually
he's not sane.
Yeah. So this guy, if you complain about this is on a farm in a rural area. Like people are not as prude as you think.
It's gonna get hot out there.
Anyway, here's I gotta go with the donations. So here's Kyle Rocket. He didn't mean to say boxing. He meant to say boring. So Shimonetta, a boring world. Okay, there you go. That makes more sense.
Anyway, if you're a man and you complain about boobs, something's wrong with you.
Yes, I agree. Dixie. Dixie.
There's nothing wrong with a good rack.
Dixie Normus. Hey, Dixie, how's it going? Personally, I don't like it in anime when deaths are really drawn out and super dramatic. I find there's more impact when it's quick and then they're dead. Caesar's death in JoJo, Gretel's in Black Lagoon are the kinds of deaths that stick with me.
I'd advise you not to speak too soon.
But what about real life Caesar's death?
I mean, I think it can be done right. It's just sometimes it's not.
There is an actual time between the fatal wound to death. That's true, depending on the nature of the wound. But
like there are some death scenes in anime that play out like that one part in SpongeBob.
Fuck you.
Yeah, but so are they in American stuff.
Yeah.
Like there was. I'm currently watching through Buffy, and they're doing all this tropey shit
Yeah.
in the worst way possible.
The first few seasons,
especially in the first,
yeah,
I'd say 3 seasons.
they're pretty bad.
The ending of Assassination Classroom has one of those kind of long, drawn-out deaths, but I think it does it really effectively.
Is Buffy good?
Assassination Classroom? Yeah, it's really good.
It's fun. I like it. Anyway, here's our last donation. We'll get on with the video. Living in Smud's walls. This guy sounds like LiteratureDevil's fruity little brother. I'm waiting for him to go on a rant about the misogyny in anime and blah, blah, blah. Everyone on anime YouTube has the same opinion, just shit libs wanting to lecture you. I don't know if this guy is like that, but I think he's just sort of getting tired.
I mean, we'll see, right?
Well, okay.
If you're shitting on large, on large breasts, you're not a liberal.
I can understand seeing a pattern and saying, okay, here's the big titty elf princess, right? Happens a lot. Here's the lowly dragon. Here's the mature woman who's, I don't know, a mother figure. Like, there's all these patterns for women. To show them in skimpy clothing or in this or that armor doesn't bother me. It's there as a service to the audience for the fantasy world you're in, for the magical armor they may or may not be wearing, if there is any lore or backstory behind that. This is the reason why people watch these things. If everyone was plain and not too tall and not too strong and not too whatever, why are you drawing them? Draw something fun.
People like characters to be sexy.
They want them to be weird and strange and tall and short and all kinds of different sizes and shapes. Why not do them? Why not do all of them? Why not have fun with all of them? I don't know. This is not like you have to do it a certain way. But if you're going to attract people, do the attractive character. Give us darkness. Yes, she's attractive. She's blonde. She's tall. She's strong. She's also an airhead and a masochist, and she can't swing a sword for shit. Like, it's you could do more with the character aside from being attractive. So,
same thing with guys. I assume, just we got to make them look strong and buff and really beautiful.
Yeah, and even with
with their hair,
even with Konosuba, the main character, he's still a pervert, but he's still the Japanese shy mentality. So he never.
Yeah. That just makes him a real man.
Yeah, so he never goes through with everything, even though he's got this hot blonde who's like dripping over him all the time. So
yeah,
instead he abuses the lich next door who's always crying. It's like, leave me alone.
Also, about being the guy, also about the guy in this video being like LitDev's little brother, I can imagine it's like LitDev hearing that coming in.
No. Here's some more anime to watch with bigger boobs. Anyway.
Maybe this guy does the afternoon nonsense show. I don't know.
Oh, everything that LitDev just said, yeah. My brother is problematic.
Good afternoon.
He just said a bunch of things that I don't agree with. I'm going to talk about them. Starting 4 hours ago. Okay. Anyway.
Where we going?
Got one female in the group that's beyond supersized thick. And don't get me wrong, I do love my thick characters. And I've been watching anime for so long that I think I just gotten used to it. But even I still have my limits. Like, one that would have been way too much for me years ago would have been the dragon from...
Magical dragon goddess.
That is...
Wait, hold on. What did you say?
Over the top. If you put a sweater over Lukua, she looks like a normal woman. It's the thing with you people and your complaints about big boobs is that you never saw any in real life, because you never saw any of these women with big tits wearing something skin tight. If you did, if they lifted their white shirts and their white sweaters, you'd drool over, you'd probably get a nosebleed, an actual one.
I've noticed another thing about these SJW types when it comes to the Anitubers. They've always got to praise this show because of the LGBT representation, but then they've got to smack it down because of the boobs.
Yeah, I don't know. It gets annoying. It's like, where does it stop?
It's like, yeah, those kinds of people do exist.
Yeah, but this is a magical dragon goddess who's been...
I don't care about big boobs, but why does she have big boobs?
Yeah.
Like, okay, she has an E-cup, so fucking what? That's not beyond horrible.
I think the
If you're
bigger
not,
thing,
if
question.
you're not turned on by it, it's like, what is the big deal?
Okay, so your nice range is B2C or something. So what? There are people who are into that, and this is still a natural cup size. Like the average cup size in Germany is I think the equivalent to US would be double D.
Oof.
That's the average in Germany. That means half is above that and half is below that. It probably counts in the old grannies, but you know.
Oddly enough, the only place where Lukoa, whatever her name is, would look out of place is Japan, because they usually have smaller boobs.
Yeah, they do have the big titty girls, the natural ones. But yeah, they are a bit more rare than elsewhere. Also, because you cannot trust the character descriptions of the sizes of the girls for anime and manga, because Japanese cup sizes work like European cup sizes. We measure in centimeters, not in inches. So every cup size in the US is an inch, that is 2.54 centimeters, and every cup size in the EU is 2 centimeters. The only one where we're congruent, where we're the same, is D. The thing with Japan is that because their average is much smaller, their cup sizes are all they work exactly like the European ones. They're just one level bigger than they are.
Yeah, in case you guys don't know anything about normal distribution, breast size is a normal distribution. It's not the best, smoothest distribution, but it is a normal distribution. So I think the average cup size is B in the world, with the outliers being the double A and the double Ds. So
I'm not sure about that, about the worldwide thing. I just wanted to say, when it says a Japanese girl has an E cup, that's actually just a D. When it's a D, it's a C, and so on.
Right. Anyway, yeah, let's keep going.
Dragon Maid. No, I'm not talking about Toru. But then this season, you have the one that is, oh my lord. Like my brain just stops working when she gets on screen. I love Dragon Maid, so thankfully I am able to look past this. So definitely let me know if this is an issue for you. Bonus if it's
But how can you look past those?
High character. Like Aqua forgive if this is supposed to be an elementary school kid. And I will be fair to mention the exception, which is really any ecchi or really hardcore fanservice anime, where it's clearly the point. When that comes around, it'd be silly for anyone to complain. Here's a fun one.
You're showing monster girls, they're made to be sexy.
Which really seems to be the bread and butter for a lot of shonen anime. Whether it's your secret move, your plan. Oh, how about let me just tell you my weakness.
So wait, exposition is bad? What?
I don't even know.
Exposition is a trope? What? What are you talking about? Plotting, giving out information is about what I'm going to do next or what I've done is... What?
And he's showing animes where this is definitely not a problem.
Yeah, I don't...
Like Hunter x Hunter and FMA are shows that do this, like, really well.
Yeah, you kind of need some things explained. Like, I'm watching... I've already read as much as I could of the... A realist is saving the world, or whatever the title of that one. He becomes the hero, the king, and he has all these reforms. And there's one guy, it's like a lion-like figure who's one of the 3 generals of this army that are against him because they don't agree with his appointment to king. And he has this huge elaborate plan of why he's going to fight the king and get all the nobles in one area so that if he does lose, all the corrupt nobles can be taken care of rather quickly. And that has other permutations in the future. And he's thought this all out. And the king figures this out as he's doing it, as he's fighting him. He's like, wait a second, if I do this, then this is going to happen. And he has him in his jail. He's like, did you plan this all out? And instead of the villain explaining all this stuff, he's like, well, I can't really say. and it just keeps going on. So there's ways to do it. Whether it's exposition from the hero or the villain makes very little difference so long as the audience knows what the hell is going on and why things are happening the way they're happening. So that's what matters, and you need detail. You need that exposition. So this is not an anime thing. This is not a manga thing. Maybe he's talking about villains who have these elaborate, crazy...
I mean, I kind of think this is an extension of that thing we were talking about before we started the video where people have to, like, name their attack.
Well, no, that's specific to a sensationalist thing on the screen where there's no lore explaining, or there is enough lore, but to just make it easier for the audience to know what's going on, like Fireball.
I still think that's kind of what he's getting at here.
You think?
No, I think those are...
I think it's kind of part of that.
We're talking about...
entirely sure.
I'm
Maybe I'm
thinking,
giving
like,
him too much benefit of the doubt, but I think he's kind of talking about something like that.
Well, is he talking about like over exposition? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Is
He's
that his
talking
issue?
about the crazy, intricate Xanato's plan gambits that some of these villains have that you don't understand to the last minute, and they start explaining it to you. It's like, well, this happened.
You know that scene when in Black Lagoon where they're fighting the Nazis and that one guy comes out and he starts explaining how his gun is like customized to this level, and then Revy just shoots him in the head and goes, "Doesn't really matter what you have. You just got to hit him in the head." He's talking about that trope being played straight.
I'm thinking of like Death Note, even the Death Note from Netflix, this elaborate, stupid thing that just goes on and on and on to explain how all these crazy events just happened.
Well, they explain it by not explaining it.
Well, they give a reason, but it's just so silly that you...
Do they? I don't even remember. God. That movie was so dumb.
This is something that conditionally kind of can make sense. Like, maybe you do want to explain your gruesomely customized weapon because it might strike fear into your enemy, but maybe you're in the middle of the fight and it might be inappropriate to do that. Do it at that time.
In some cases, with villains, you want them to explain things so you could understand where they're coming from, and that's kind of the appeal of video game choices. That you say, "Oh, you know what? This could work better." Like, say in Mass Effect, if the Reaper's reason to destroy all life made sense, you're like, "Oh, you're actually not destroying life; you're preserving life, and it makes sense. You're keeping us from dying and being destroyed." It's like, "Oh, that makes sense." And this is not an unheard of idea. We've talked about this in science fiction for decades, of putting consciousness into a computer, and we all have collective consciousness, and we all have immediate thoughts and knowledge, and memory is perfect, and all these other wonderful things. Like that would be ideal in some people's minds. And if you had that explained properly, that would take some time. Then you'd go, "Oh, Reapers are cool. They're doing it in a very violent way, but they're still cool in the end." And that's what we needed in these stories, like especially science fiction. So, anime, it's not bad. I don't mind.
Extra points if it's actually the enemy telling you during the battle. And yes, sometimes you do get a pass with the main character or villain getting overly cocky, being way too overconfident. And trust me, there are ways to do it without spilling your juices. For long-term veteran anime fans, you may instantly think of Boruto's dad. One of the worst offenders that does stand out for my mind is actually My Hero Academia. You know the scene where Deku's phone breaks in battle, which is then followed by that explanation that since the phone is broken, he can't make a call. Like, come on bro, we're not stupid. On the flip side to this, to be fair, I do think a lot of this stuff works better in the manga. And I have noticed anime studios...
That was a manga? Wow.
Yeah, there are some mangas that'll just put up walls of text sometimes.
Wow.
I'd say that's an illustrated book.
Where's the illustration? What is that? I wrote my words. I drew them very well.
Maybe it's a joke. I don't know.
Yeah. Holy crap.
You can play that.
His phone? Like, I don't even remember that one. His phone broke, and then what? He couldn't make a call?
Oh, this is from Hunter x Hunter.
But you can play that off as a joke in a manga or comic by just the character incessantly rambling or being lost in his own head for a page.
Well, that's like watching any episode of Excel Saga. So
Yeah, while Axel keeps talking without pause and without taking a breath, there's still stuff happening all the time.
Right.
Here it's just plain text.
Yeah. All right.
And I have noticed anime studios, and by extension directors, being a lot better about this in recent anime. Although sometimes you do have the anime going to the extreme, where don't worry about explaining anything. All of these anime fans already read the light novel. Right. Too many flashbacks, which really goes hand in hand with the previous one. Once again...
All right, so again, this is also in contemporary settings and stories. I remember, was it season 2 of Heroes or season 3? I can't remember how long Heroes went on for. But even when they have characters forgetting everything, and they're slowly remembering stuff, and they have these weird flashbacks, and then they just, oh yeah, I used to do this. I used to like that. I used to love that. I used to hate that. And it comes crashing onto them. It's becoming a silly thing, especially with mind control or all these other magical abilities that just, okay, if you can just manipulate people's memories, none of this is relevant because he could have done anything to that person and decided just to remove stuff. So flashbacks by themselves are nothing inherently bad, but in anime, sometimes you get entire episodes or a series of episodes sometimes which are flashbacks. And Naruto's known for that.
I would say Naruto is probably the biggest offender.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. You don't want to watch what's happening.
This almost feels exclusive to Naruto in a way.
Yeah, I know. They like to drag the drama out as long as possible. It's like, okay. Can we go on with this, please?
Sorry to pick on you, but Naruto, by far one of the most infamous offenders for this. Does anyone recall the time that they actually did a couple of flashbacks within a flashback? Often when you have so many flashbacks in an anime episode, it really feels like the show is holding your hand. Although let's be real for why they're doing it, really just to take up some episode time. I know I'm gonna get crap for it if I don't mention One Piece in this. As an extension to this, bonus points if you have a flashback right before the villain is about to die. Demon Slayer anyone? There really should be much better ways of getting this across in the story, other than right before the bad guys moment.
But this kind of flashback of the villain, that is the flashback of the villain who's about to die, that is his life flashing before his eyes.
Yeah,
that's
like not a very good complaint.
It depends.
Yeah, that's a justified flashback that can work well, that can increase the impact, and it can, in this case, give you sympathy. It creates sympathy for the innocent human that this monster once was.
Well, compare this, depending on how long the flashback, it could work, but to compare this to episode 5 of Cowboy Bebop, when Spike falls out of the stained glass window, and he has flashbacks, but they're like a second or two.
Yeah, it's like 5 seconds of just some still images, a couple of the scene where he's shooting with the bouquet of flowers, and then that's pretty much it.
Julia, she's breaking the note apart, and she spins around, she's playing pool. Just quick scenes of him remembering his life, because he's about to die.
And it bleeds right into him waking up on the couch with Faye humming.
Which is beautiful because Faye has perfect pitch. And he says, you have horrible pitch. And it's like, what the? She gets angry for obvious reasons because she just saved his life. And,
out of spite.
Yeah, and Spike's like, I don't like you. Go away.
Like, purposely trying to push her away.
Yeah. So the flashbacks are best done not at all, but if you have no time in your narrative to explain the motivations and history of your villain, yes, you should do them, but don't take too long. You're taking away from the actual scene, which is a problem. So no one wants to have a frame narrative, which is the actual narrative.
Flashbacks certainly have their place, but don't overuse them.
Exactly.
Just like any other storytelling tool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, do not dwell more than 5 or 10 minutes on this one thing to address a character's motivation. That should be number one thing in introducing a character is their motivation. So
5 or 10 minutes on a single flashback. What the fuck?
Episodes, series of Naruto is like, oh my god.
Okay.
My problem with flashbacks is only when it is not clear that we're currently in a flashback.
Oh.
I've seen shows where it's now a flashback, and I had no bloody way to tell.
I've also seen shows where sometimes you kind of question why they did the flashback at all. That can happen too, and that's just a clear misuse of it.
Yeah, so at least do something that visually indicates it. You don't need to overdo it with the super misty edges of the screen, like the soap opera trope. You could simply change the lighting. Desaturate it a little. You don't need to go black and white. You can just desaturate the color.
Bebop does the sepia tone, not the pure sepia. That worked very well. So that could
nice.
you don't need to actually visually put a filter, although it does help, I guess. There's the other problem is flashbacks, which are not too long and not too short, but they don't make any sense. And the best example is, of course, from The Last of Us Part 2, right at the end, and you're sitting there going, okay. What did that mean?
Yeah, how did that flashback of Joel lead Ellie to go, I need to forgive Abby?
It doesn't connect.
Because Joel was playing guitar. That's why.
Or drinking coffee.
Because she didn't get to forgive Joel, even though that should make her madder.
Yeah, everything about that scene made her angrier. I don't know why.
Don't do flashbacks unless you're Breaking Bad.
Oh, God.
And do all the flashbacks you want.
No, not even that.
Anyway,
that at least indicated well with the actual flash to get into it, and it's not the horrible. Oh God, the visions in Angel. They're short of giving me migraines. Like that, these one frame flashes with a white light before and after.
Yeah, very quick.
One of those.
Very quick cuts. Yeah, I'm just.
They used to do that for a lot of shows back then, didn't they?
Even with
to indicate that it's a flashback.
I understand it would fit a horror movie, and Angel and Buffy are going through all the horror tropes and then stop.
Yeah, that's why I always say
their own. That's okay.
Angel does it better. They've had an entire series to play with Buffy, and Angel's like the refined version of that. But it's still a goofy show.
In a way, yeah.
It's still.
Well, they also learned on the special effects at that point.
Oh yeah, like compared to like Supernatural, it's probably heads and tails above. But it's just.
I don't know about that.
Supernatural is like throw everything you've got at the wall and hope it sticks. That's
those visions.
I still think Supernatural season 1 through 5 is really good.
There are some really good scenes. I agree. But as a whole, you look at what Supernatural is as a premise and what they did. It's like, this is pretty hokey.
Yeah,
they're all very hokey. That's the nature of thriller, horror, fantasy, or whatever you want to call supernatural fantasy. But the Supernatural just keeps going with the angel, demon, devil bullshit. You're like, okay, this is too much. This is now they're in another alternate world. Now they're in limbo. Now they're in hell. Now it's like, okay, all right. They gotta get the magic dagger. Again. Got to get the magic ring from death, and that's kind of cool, but also kind of stupid. And they bring in their comedy. It's like, oh god.
They deal with the magic TV that sends them into Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Oh Jesus! Don't even mention. Oh.
I love that episode.
It was a very fun episode.
I love that episode.
Anyway.
And do let me know which anime you think is the worst offender for so many flashbacks. Next up, By the Power of Friendship. I know you're gonna say Jerry just hates battle shonen anime, although this is actually more.
You know how many people to this day don't get the power of friendship thing?
Talk. It's your turn. Fairy Tail comes to mind. And with shonen anime as popular as ever, this
doesn't bother me.
Me neither.
Yeah, people need to. The problem with this is only that people have a hard time actually understanding this, because it's a real thing. Yeah, there's not gonna magical beams coming out from anywhere, but friends working together can solve almost any problem.
It's the same with even the
because
isekai
they're
genre.
helping each other with what the others can't do.
Yeah, if someone's hurt or lost or kidnapped, it's like, oh, we got to help them. And it's not literally, I have to help my friend. It's like, they could die. We don't know.
Yeah.
No one knows. So
Also, some
Because the
people
situation-
need external motivation, like in Yu Yu Hakusho when Toguro stabs what's his name? Orange Hair, Kuwabara. When he stabs Kuwabara to make Yusuke mad, sometimes people just need that extra push to actually fulfill their fight to their full potential.
Yeah, and sometimes a friend can't is in such trouble that he or she can't help himself, and that's when only a friend can help to do something that friend can't do anymore, so that friend can get better. You can't do everything alone. There is a limit. You
about
hopefully
family.
most people in a way. It's I've lost the train of thought. Fuck.
well, I do know that this concept of community is found in Eastern world thinking. So it's not just you're part of a family, you're part of a community, you're part of everyone around you. And that's
Real friends who help you through hell.
yeah.
Those are like family.
Right.
And sometimes they're better than family.
Right. And we talk about, the community you live in or the street you're on, and everyone, I don't know about you, but it's pretty good here in Toronto. Everyone sort of gets along with each other. We have extra food or drink or flowers or vegetables. It's like, oh, I have too many potatoes. Gotta give them to you. Or I'm going shopping. Do you want anything? And we'll just buy them chickens because they don't have any chicken. So, it's one of those.
It's low level chores. That's not the friendship where it counts.
Well, not in the dramatic sense. I'm talking about the day to day. Like, this is what it translates to.
Day to day is nice. That's acquaintances can do that.
Yeah. But if you don't have that understanding, this is what it translates to. It's the reality.
And I mean, of course, most of us should know about Persona and how the power of friendship thing at the end is usually
Right.
more about self-actualization of the person through the bonds they make.
Yes, it's because you helped them out through their problems, and it was an ongoing system of going through. It wasn't just, hey, I need to learn how to dance to do well in a dance competition. It's like, no, I want to dance. I love dancing. I'm just not good at it. And even if I lose, I was with my friend who taught me, and we learned together what it meant to try hard at something. And that's all the motivation I need in life to continue on with other struggles. And that comes to a point when they fight the big bad at Persona with always the end, not the end of the world, but the end of their part of the world. So it's, except for Persona 3, I think, and 1.
Yeah, 3 is a total end of the world.
Yeah, it's pretty much we're all dead. Okay.
Yeah, but it's still the
And two.
everyday life things where you can see this at work, because it's not really beyond the limits of what people can take. It's just an obstacle to getting towards mastering something. But where it's really tested, that is where this trope is really aiming at. That's the insurmountable odd that even if you, because with the dancing thing, that example, the dancing competition example, that is still something that you might be able to push through on your own, like getting ready for a fight against the bad guy of the movie, but. The thing where the power of friendship really comes into play is where you have an insurmountable odd for a single player quest, because it's not a single player quest.
Well, the example I was giving was Persona 5. Sumire, she's a professional gymnast, and she just has this emotional, psychological block, and she just
Is that the base game or Royal?
Royal, obviously.
That's Royal.
Yeah.
The new character?
Yeah, the new one.
Yeah.
So she needs to, like, this is what the system is all about in Persona. You talk to people, you identify their problems, you help them out. And she just needs that extra, like, she's already an expert. She's very good at her job. She's Olympic level or whatever. but there's something holding her back from getting that extra level. She just can't reach that threshold. She can't push. And she needs that emotional support from someone. And that's where you just come in and say, hey, I'm here to help you, whatever you need. And which is kind of funny because you're actually pretty good at dancing too. It's just like, oh, you're pretty awesome. So
Yes.
it's kind of funny how these two characters complement each other as characters in the story, not necessarily in the romantic sense, but in the psychological sense that they can relate and help each other out. And because it's Persona, everything happens in a fictional world. Everything happens in that netherworld or whatever you want to call the midnight hour.
Metaverse.
The metaverse,
The
yeah.
dream world.
It's always outside of reality. And so you're risking life and limb in that reality. And then once you leave it and you save the day and everyone goes home, you're like, what do we do? We go back to our normal lives. So that's kind of the beautiful thing with Persona, because while you're doing these real world things like teaching someone how to dance to get to the next level, you're also fighting all kinds of crazy metaphysical elements and creatures in this magical world. And that's why you always have the best guy, like the Junpeis and those are the guys who always have your back, and they suck at everything else except for one thing, like baseball or whatever. And they come back to the real world like, oh, what do I have to do? What can I do now? And they don't have that inspiration to go out and challenge themselves because they were doing the one thing over and over again, which was fight a bunch of creatures from some weird world. So
Actually,
in that game they're almost used to that. Thing is, it's just this is the power of friendship trope is supposed to inspire people, especially from a kid's age, to work together with your friends, help them when they need it, and grow together. And the thing is that works for most people, or for most friends, light version of that, with little problems, with fun problems, even like figuring out some technical stuff, and they will be there for the party. But when a life is on the line, when there's a real bad guy, a true bad guy, and they've never faced true evil before, most of them will run away in fear. And that is where you wonder, well, what was about all this power of friendship stuff? Where's that now? And you're all alone. And that's where you actually need that, and you thought that was around. And because there is actually very few people who really understand this.
Yeah, there's definitely very few people that you can really think, do I actually trust this person with my life?
The problem becomes when it's too childish, and obviously if the anime is geared towards kids, it's fine, but if you're talking about, I don't know, Naruto or other things for younger adults, it's kind of corny. It's like, okay, you're risking life and limb for your buddy.
Lots of it is just punch harder.
Yeah. Anyway, I get what he's trying to say. It's fine.
This isn't going to go away anytime soon. I was actually trying to think of some examples of anime that done this well, and it really just feels like it comes down to not spamming the friendship talk. I need to protect my friends, and so on. Like, cool dude, we get it. Just turn it down a notch. For the obvious exception to this, I will mention shonen anime aimed at young kids, whether it's something like Pokemon, Digimon, and most magical girl anime. At that point, it's really just a given, the secret sauce. Next up, random as fan service. And by this, I do mean the sticky, ecchi kind. Much like...
It depends. I don't have much of a problem with it in general.
Yeah.
I'm just annoyed by the beach episode.
It's just
I can't see beach
a
episodes
genre.
anymore.
You either like the genre and it's goofy and you treat it as a goofy thing, or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So
the fan service of Gurren Lagann is completely justified because it fan service scenes the girls that Simone is interested in. So the beginning of the show, it fan services Yoko all the time. And then when we meet Nia, she's the object of most of the fan service because she's the one he's infatuated with. And he's a teenager going through puberty. Of course he's going to be looking at their boobs or their
it's even aimed right.
Yeah, this is
like you have the relevant character in the center of.
So
that, as you
again,
said.
we can see the redundancy of this, but we understand it, and it's like, why is this bad? Unless that's all there is to it, and women are just being goofy and weird for the sake of being goofy and weird, which is not cool. Usually, it's because the girls have a plan to show off to the male hero or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the other trope I don't like, which is the nosebleed. So it really depends. The actual cause of the nosebleed is not the problem. So I don't care if women want to wear clothing. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, you're also
Like, again, we
you're
brought
also
this up before,
depriving the.
Sorry, what?
You can finish, Wes.
Okay, you're also depriving the girls of good-looking scenes where they're confident in themselves.
Yeah, like the scene in Persona 5 when Anne and Ryuji are on the beach, and Anne very clearly starts to flirt with Ryuji because she notices he's looking at her.
Well, I don't think she's flirting with him. She sees him as a buddy of hers, and she wants to be recognized as she's attractive because everyone knows she's attractive. She just wants him to realize it, and then he starts making those hand motions, and he's like, you got it. You're doing it. That's,
yeah.
Not that he's actually going to do it because, she'd beat the shit out of him. So that was actually a really mature and funny thing from Anne, because Anne is usually, uptight about everything, how she looks. And there's so many comedic scenes of Anne about nudity and her body and eating food, and she's always a glutton and this and that.
Yeah.
So,
and then there's also the scene at the end of Her Confidant where she tries to preposition Ryuji to get out of doing something, and Ryuji's like, no, you don't need to do that. You can do this.
Yeah, no, there's lots of great scenes for women using their sexuality, and that's fine. I see nothing wrong with women doing that. And yes, there are some times where it's a little over the top, but that not everything is High School DxD.
I mean, one show where it can get a little extreme is Fire Force.
Oh,
Be
really?
in the middle of a really important fight, and then a girl's ass is just in the shot. And
it's not.
It almost forces you out of the moment.
Look, as long as it's not Agent Aika, which is all about panty shots in every scene. I think it has more panty shots than it has frames.
It's amazing.
And the German dub is unbearable.
Do extreme poses for no reason. Just like, what the hell are you fighting? Like, what? The splits all the time. Okay, sure.
Yeah, the only thing I have that is annoying me is the filler beach episode. Where there's nothing happening, it's just a beach episode, and it's boring as shit, and it's rarely good fun.
Doesn't Bleach have one too?
Well,
I think it was it Konosuba? No, the other thing, the other one. Picking Up Girls in a Dungeon had a good one.
Really? I watched that. I can't
Gurren
remember.
Lagann has a pretty good one.
Oh, it was either Konosuba or the.
Doesn't
I
Bleach
think it
also
was
have a beach episode?
I think it was Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon. Yeah, it was Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon. Because the whole thing was a dream.
Oh, I hate those.
Made it even more horrible.
Well, I do admit
it wasn't just a dream. It was a vision dream
No.
that forebode the future to avoid the danger that was part of the dream.
Okay.
Everyone turned into mushroom people.
That reminds me of other patterns we see in anime, manga, and games, which is the retreats to the ski lodge or the hot springs resort spa thing. The cultural festival at the high school with the haunted house, with the maid cafe.
Technically, you can fill a season with only the filler episodes of all the festivals that the year has, and the other traditional fillers. Like the Halloween episode, the Christmas episode.
Oh, yeah.
In America, you would have the Thanksgiving episode. Then
New
you
Year's
do
Eve, all these silly.
So you already have 3.
Valentine's Day and White Day is a big thing in Japan, so they got to do that.
Yeah, then you have New Year's. So we already have half a small season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Those are all the rom-coms. They have to be taking place in high school, and it's all the big name days. And
I think one of the shows that did it really well was Toradora.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that. That was a rather simple and cute story, and it wasn't too dumb, and it wasn't too over the top. I don't mind those.
I mean, it's got like, I would say like 3 really over the top moments, but they earn it.
Yeah,
No way.
compared to like Nisekoi or all these other bizarre romance stories, you're like, oh, okay, this would never happen, and this person's insane. So it just like, yeah, there's just no way. There's no way there's an army of or a series of murderers or assassins that turned love struck and are very good at cooking. It's like, wait a second, how does this make sense? Why does this make sense?
Yeah, they're definitely not all good at cooking. To get back at our guy here. Just admit you like boobs. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's what they exist for. They wouldn't be the way they are, that big, if you weren't turned on by them. That's an evolutionary product. Because it is completely irrelevant how big they are in order for them to give milk. They're only big to mimic filled with milk breasts. They're supposed to show to mimic the state of I am fertile, I can give milk because it's filled up with them, although it's really just fatty tissue. They are big to make you think this is the fertile woman. That's what it's for. It's supposed to make you look at them. It's supposed to give you a boner because it's supposed to attract you to procreate.
Yeah.
That's why human female breasts are big. No other reason.
That reminds me.
And nobody except the Twitter Puritans are going to think lesser of you if you're attracted to them.
Right. And the great way they got away with this, I don't know if people have noticed over the years, but there's always the short girls with the huge tits, but they bundle up their chest. And there's 2 I can remember from Persona and Nisekoi. The same thing. They're tomboys. They try to look like boys to disguise their femininity.
Yeah, I was going to say that's more of a tomboy thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they end up being uber feminine because they're shy and insecure about their bodies.
Well, that's what Nanta does in Persona 4, I think, right?
Naruto is
She
that way. So is
I think she binds her breast.
yeah, for sure. So does Sugumi in Nisekoi. She's that crazy assassin chick, and she's apparently very good at cooking. And Naruto is also very good at baking. And you're like, they both have blue hair, and they're both very logical. It's like, what? What's going on?
I don't know. Do you tell us?
Yeah, people like that pattern, I guess. So, anyway, boobs are good.
Anyway,
For a lot of
asses.
these things, being a veteran anime fan, I do think I've grown a tolerance for this. And let's admit it, fan service by itself is not bad. It really just depends on the tone of the show. Like you wouldn't want to see Eren and Mikasa fighting titans, and then they flash her pantsu underneath. One of the worst offenders that comes to mind for me is actually Fire Force, as much as I like that series, where you literally have the enemy stopping mid-battle or mid-event just to have this freaking fan service scene. Or I don't know, can
That from before, the scene from before you called fan service, that was just a tiny little comedic thing.
Yeah, that wasn't a big issue.
Yeah.
But I would say there are some scenes in Fire Force that are... Has anyone here seen the Awesome series by Ego Raptor?
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys see Awesome Guided?
I honestly thought you were going to mention Awesome Gear.
There's a scene in Awesome Gaiden where after the ninja pops out of the TV and starts kicking Eren's ass, he goes, "Look at that ninja with huge boobs over there." And then it just shows a anime girl with huge boobs, and he's like, "Isn't that nice?" And Eren's like, yeah." He's like, "It would be nice if I wasn't kicking your ass so hard right now."
Oh man. What was it? So the next one here doesn't count because that's an almost hentai.
And also, it's a
much.
character trait of Meliodas is that it's actually explored. He's a huge fucking pervert.
Yeah. What did I want to say before that?
Feels like this guy really likes Dragon Quest or Akira Toriyama.
Yeah,
what was
the
that?
inspiration with Seven Deadly Sins there.
Didn't
right,
Toriyama do
right.
this one in particular?
No.
No, he
this is not Toriyama style. Not even remotely.
I thought.
It just
Not
looks
even
similar.
remotely.
Yeah.
It's pretty similar.
It has some elements of it. No, this guy should never watch Those Who Hunt Elves.
Okay.
That was still a good anime. I like that.
I liked, yeah. It was technically an isekai of the early 90s or late 80s.
I don't think he could watch Outlaw Star either. That would be too risque for him too.
Oh dear.
Probably. Yeah, but the plot of Those Who Hunt Elves is random people get thrown into fantasy world by accidental spell that was supposed to summon heroes to save the world. They didn't really bother with that. With a strong guy, actress who can disguise herself, of course, and tomboy girl that has a tank. And they venture through a fantasy world with their tank. And because they want to return to their home world, of course, of Japan. And in order to do that, they have to find the pieces of the spell that was used to summon them, but the spell just broke apart and the pieces flew all over the world and are now stuck as tattoos to elven women. So in order to gather all the spell pieces, they have to venture through the land and strip elf women naked to find the tattoos. That's the plot.
Fuck.
It's great.
I think it came
And they
out.
have a tank.
Yeah, it came out the same year or two as A Wind Named Amnesia, I think. I can't recall. It was like when anime was hitting the West, like we got these weird bootlegs and only very few translated or dubbed. So
Sounds like it would have been around like 97.
no, that's a bit too late. I think it was earlier than that.
Earlier than that? Oh.
I'm trying. Honestly, it's been a long time since I've seen those movies. Boy. Anyway, yeah.
All this fan service the little boy in Seven Deadly Sins does. For this one, bonus points if you actually have the male character, and then falling and feeling the girl's chest. Then again, you did have that time that it actually happened in real life. An extension to this would be the random perverted character.
What, that
For
never
ongoing
happened to
anime,
you?
You do have Great Boy. I think this guy is self-explanatory. Although one that actually makes my skin crawl is actually thinking back to Jiraiya looking at like, what, 12-year-old Naruto in girl mode? Like, dude, no matter the gender for Naruto here, this is just creepy AF.
Don't know.
The talk no
Okay.
jutsu.
The whole point of the sexy
I
no
swear I'm
jutsu is
not-
to turn into a sexy adult woman, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's not
this
a
guy-
minor technically there.
So, dude, you do not understand how sexual orientation works. It's an illusion that triggers all the sexual patterns, that all the sexual pattern recognition in a normal man and makes him go, oh shit. And Jiraiya he's aware this is just Naruto fucking with him. So he's not falling for it.
On the other hand, that one time that Naruto literally did it on Amaterasu and it worked.
Yeah, but this is when you just see the illusion and don't know it's this boy doing it. Yeah, you're gonna think, oh, that's an adult woman and she's sexy and she's making advances towards me. You're not seeing through the illusion. That's the point of an illusion.
Except Amaterasu knew it was an illusion and still worked on her. For a moment. You gotta look up that clip though if you haven't seen it.
Was that in Shippuden? Because I haven't watched Shippuden.
It was in Shippuden where he did it instead of a woman. He combines the male version of that with the shadow clones, and it actually works on Amaterasu for a moment.
Also,
Oh.
we kind of went over it, but
Overwhelming.
mandatory SJW hating Mineta moment.
What?
Yeah, they're pissed.
Yeah,
They're pissed about
Mineta's
Mineta.
bad. Oh no.
Because they're conflicted about Mineta because they weren't able to properly understand a translated text, and because of that fought Mineta and main character's name.
If Mineta was a girl and he was attracted to all the guys, they wouldn't complain about it.
Definitely not, no. Yeah, but that there was a line that was ambiguously translated if you're retarded.
Yeah, that
and
was
they
recently too.
Yeah, and I thought that Mineta was in love with main character. That's he isn't. He just voiced his
other guys without being in
Yeah.
love.
Wait.
he just voiced his adoration. That he was looking up to main character. I'm sorry, I forgot the name.
Is it Deku?
Brain's dead. Yeah, Deku. Yeah, because he had this, because Deku inspired him, and he's just saying that while he's pissed, and the SJWs interpreted this as, oh, he loves him, because SJWs only understand sexual attraction. So I think love is sexual. Everything that has to do with love must be sexual. Because they're narcissists who do not understand actual love or friendship.
What the fuck?
Anyway, let's see what Talk No Jutsu is. I think it's what I mentioned as my number one, where you say the thing, and it does the other thing without explanation. But let's see.
Trying to pick on Naruto, but this orange ninja is one that made this one super infamous. One of his most overpowered moves in shonen history. And actually, perhaps thanks to Naruto, it became such a meme, such a well-known concept, that current manga and anime writers are very familiar with the issue and actually actively trying to avoid it. Much like the power of friendship stuff, I think this has been reduced heavily in recent years. Although you can let me know, I have not checked out the new Boruto series. The random isekai hero.
Wait, what is it?
He barely even defined it. Okay, Talk No Jutsu is when Naruto talks to the villain and he manages to relate to them. What? And they go, I wasn't a bad guy the whole time. I was just doing my job.
That's a pattern?
And they become friends.
What?
That's what he meant?
What?
Man, if that's what he meant, he should not play Planescape Torment. Because you can talk your way out of the game.
Oh, there's 3 fight scenes you can't, but yeah, that's... What?
I don't get it, yeah.
So, talking to the villain to talk him out of being a villain or something?
Yeah, that's basically it.
He just says the problem has been reduced. It's like, okay.
That's...
I don't know.
I argue, at least with Naruto, it does it, 1, too much, because it does it with almost every villain. And 2, the villain just does a complete heel turn with basically no effort.
Especially if it's someone that was already a friend that turned evil and then turns good again.
Well, there are some good examples, like with Pain. I think it worked rather well. Was his name Pain? Who the hell was that guy?
Yeah, it was Pain.
Yeah, okay. Like, all it takes is someone to respect the other person. Okay, you have the capability of killing me. We're not going to do that just yet. We're going to talk about why not. And they start talking about why not. That's fine. That's good. That's like a Mexican standoff. And you're like, oh, shit, we're going to die. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Why are we trying to kill each other again? Oh, yeah, okay. And then they go into their reasons why they've been doing this all their life, or the modus operandi, whatever their cause is. And they explain the plot, which is what you do in stories. You express what the hell's going on. And they go, oh.
The way Naruto does it sometimes, it's imagine if the scene where Doctor Strange and Thanos talked in Infinity War was the end of Infinity War, and then Doctor Strange and Thanos just walked on screen and said, "Oh, don't worry guys, we talked it out."
Oh, so you mean Black Panther talking Thanos out of killing half of the universe?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
All right, cool.
All right.
As such a well-known concept, the current manga and anime writers are very familiar with the issue and actually actively trying to avoid it.
I honestly don't think he's making any sense, or he knows what current anime manga writers are thinking. So
Maybe he was gonna make a point, but he forgot, and the video's already done. So why go back and edit it?
Talk Ninja 2, I think he didn't define it because he was expecting people to know the trope because of how popular it is, I think.
in Naruto,
Even though it's kind of a Naruto exclusive thing again.
Yeah,
It's
but I
the
feel like you want to explain every point and then try to offer like some other
Well-
alternative or solution.
I
maybe.
agree.
with revenge plots, there is no talking. There's just bullets. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
There's only bloodshed.
Much like the power of friendship stuff, I do think this has been reduced heavily in recent years. Although you can let me know, I have not checked out the new Boruto series. The Random Isekai Harem. Oh yes, this
See,
is
that's
getting its
it.
own
It's just been reduced. like, I don't know. I don't even know why he bothered to mention it.
all right. So the great
I
thing
know,
about
and it's just
the great thing I want to
it's
say
such a
about isekai is that because you have the guy or the girl come into the world and they're amazing, obviously the world is going to be attracted to this guy who could do amazing stuff. So whether it's people, dogs, animals,
Vice
magical
versa, yeah.
spirits, they're going to be attracted to this guy who could just do things that no one else can. So
yeah. He's gonna gather attention, of course.
yeah, it's the manner upon which he gathers attention and how he deals with that attention that is the problem. Not the fact that women who are cute come to him or guys that are cute come to
It's
her.
like celebrities or a
Yeah.
hero, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
It is someone doing something amazing and you're like, whoa, look at that guy over there. He could fly or whatever. Yeah, that's all it is.
He hits the net every time.
He can destroy the
Amazing.
dragon with one breath. Like, how does no one can do that? That's crazy.
The whooshy finger hold.
Oh shit!
Anyway.
action. And definitely share your thoughts. Maybe it's just me, but I just don't see the appeal in it.
Yes, the best harem anime of all time.
That's a
The
hairstyle.
shot is really low detail.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching that. That was pretty entertaining, and I liked it. So, good animation too.
This at all. The setup for a lot of these bottom tier isekai anime, you have girls just fawning over the main character. They're instantly attracted to the guy without the guy doing almost anything. Like, hey, they want to get the main character's tiny.
Okay, we know why this wonderful
Good
lady
example.
is attracted to.
Yeah, we know why this character is attracted to what's his name,
Yeah,
Heinz.
Because he's crazy.
no, because
Because he did something to her while they were
He
still a
he
game character.
he has mod
he
status,
reprogrammed her code.
and he said, "You're gonna fall in love with me," and she did. And he never
Yeah,
changed it
because
back.
it's in the code now.
Is it an overused trope?
No, he was just goofing around. He's like, "What's this? Oh, I'll press this button and try and see what happens." That's
And
it.
the trope he's on right now is the unearned harem, I guess.
I guess.
And
Be a
in this
better
case,
term for
and
it.
yeah, and in this case, he's her being attracted so hard to him is getting in the way a little bit.
This is a bad example because this is something he technically
Yeah.
did
Episode 1.
earn.
Yeah,
I guess you could say
Well, there's a reason
it's
for
also
it.
did something to get it.
Yeah,
and it's also completely pointless because the big joke is while she and what was a blood Shaltir, the vampire monster, while they are completely madly in love with him and envious, jealous of each other, he's a skeleton.
Also, this
You
is
know-
kind of the example of you wish on the monkey's paw that somebody falls in love with you, and then they turn into a stalker.
Yeah, but think this through. Eins is a skeleton. A complete
Yeah.
skeleton. He is only bones.
Yeah, he can't get a boner.
Yes. And that also means that she will forever be unsatisfied.
Anyway.
Butterfinger. My issue with this here is that a lot of the times this is a girl's only defining trait. One of the worst offenses
I wouldn't go that
Yeah,
far.
it can happen.
Sounds like
but
it
like
can
that's not
be,
a problem
but
with the trope.
no.
That's a problem of bad character writing.
It really, like, I talk about Death March because of that example, because there's so many girls, and they do have other dimensions to them, but there's not enough time to devote to each of the girls, especially the newer ones. So it's like, okay, yeah, in certain cases, this is true because of quantity, not, time. So yes, that could be a problem, but the story isn't about them, and he just has his entourage in his wagon with all these women and all his stuff, and his magical bag of holding. So it's fine, but it's not a big deal. Plus, he doesn't like. Now, if he was actively seeking out women, that'd be another story. It's like, okay, that's the story. That's what he's trying to do. But he's just being the normal Japanese business guy who's just sort of mild mannered and just wants to make some money and wants to own a house or open up a shop and grow some crops. That's it. That's all he wants to do, while having 9 women after him.
Feels like each new girl added to the harem is dumber and more brain dead than the last.
Example, please give me an example.
I swear, the last girl might as have well just been a blow-up.
What the fuck?
I'm only really happy to say that thanks to the villainous isekai, you could actually see a great example of a harem done in isekai. Oh yeah, Spock is definitely gonna charm even you. Next up,
No, yeah, didn't you notice that she has a harem of guys?
Yep,
It's called a reverse harem, yeah.
there it is.
We don't care about that.
You didn't notice that, you
That's
bloody
why it's a
idiot.
good example.
Yeah.
You're an actual
It's the other way around.
you're an actual sexist. If you didn't notice that, if you think this is okay
Double
this way, but not the other.
standards.
Women like reverse harems, believe it or not. They like reading stories about powered girls going into other worlds and having all these options. Okay.
And men who fight over them.
Yeah. And they're all
It's
gorgeous
it's
princes.
such a used ego boost.
Yeah,
It's why there are
what they call
drama
it
queens
is-
out there who deliberately have start flirting with several guys and then have them fight over her so that she can take the winner of that.
Oh yeah, what's that show called? The Bachelors something?
Oh.
No, it's going to a
Yeah.
bar.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, women love watching that show.
Yeah,
Well,
there's a lot of those dating shows that are like that.
I remember.
Yeah, well, those women are usually not there was this one with this bachelorette crap I saw cuts from, and my God, what a fucking narcissist!
Oh yeah.
Be glad you leave that show. Holy fuck!
Yeah,
You don't want to end up with this horror psycho
That guy was
bitch.
Chad.
Well,
horror show.
in the chat, there's a
Got
great
better
example
things, yeah.
of the harem anime when the guy does give in to his sexual advances, and it's the whole plot because he's so strong. It's called Peter Grill, and I don't know. It's so funny because there's all these like elf and troll women and ogre women, and they're pretty attractive in their own right, and they just want babies. They want the strongest man in the world to make the strongest baby. and he can't say, like, he does say no. He keeps fighting because he wants to get it on with the princess or whatever because they're betrothed, but he can't. He keeps hiding all these women. They keep chasing after him. There's the huge plots of the elven princesses trying to repopulate the kingdom. It's like, oh, this is ridiculous. So that's where it's kind of like, oh, this is makes sense because that's the whole story. And
And
he's
There's a
Luminary
fiction
Drive
somewhere
wins
too.
again.
yeah, he's this destroyed man. He keeps sleeping with it. He's like, I have no self-control. I can't stop it. So it's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, and there's a fetish in there somewhere too.
It's great. I love it. It shows that
Mhm.
even though he has all these women after him, it's a horrific bad thing. Because what he actually wants is the mild mannered
Yeah.
girl he likes, and all the other crazy hot women are nuts. Anyway, unfunny gags and jokes. This is kind of natural when you're talking about manga and anime. There's lots of cultural terms and references and kanji and phrases we just don't get. And usually in a manga translation, they explain what the joke is. And
But it,
Isn't that everywhere though?
In Demon Slayer, I found him okay, so I think he picked a bad example. He's mostly just using current year anime.
Yeah, I know, but
yeah, pretty much.
There's like 4 comas, and there's all kinds of straight guy, slapstick guy comedy in Japan. What's that? The morning TV show Japan stuff, where they have like the beautiful pretty girl, and then the goofy jokester kind of guy, and they sort of tell the news and talk about current events. Like there's all kinds of routines in Japan culture that no one is aware of in the West that we just don't get. So I could understand that, but that's just a problem with the audience. All you have to do is just, oh, that's a joke from something in the 80s or 90s that people were cracking up about, or some sort of reference that we don't know. And that's like, okay, well, that's fine. It's not a big deal. It just doesn't land. Lots of jokes don't land. That's normal. Anyway.
Specifically, manga ones. I'm not sure what better way to put this. A really good example for me that comes to mind is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, where you do have some random gags that just stomp the anime.
No, they're all good.
Fullmetal Alchemist is one of the ones that does it great. The tone, it's amazing.
Well, I'm sorry, guys, you're wrong. It's unfunny.
Already, the one that just begins. The one that just begins with the indie trap, with the big boulder going through the tunnel, and Ed in to not be flattened by it, just hides in the corner of the tunnel while the thing rolls by because he's so small.
And also his hatred of milk.
So it's several things in one. We get characterization, so we get action, tension, characterization through humor in a tense situation. It's great. So many things at once. It's great.
Also, a lot of Fullmetal Alchemist is really heavy. The comedy parts do a really good job in making sure the show doesn't just become a slog of depressing shit.
Oh yeah. What was it? There wasn't. I don't think there was a manga called. Was it Paradise Lost? Something like that. This is an old thing. It's a really old thing. It's just depressing. It starts with some research facility. There's some sickness going around, and starts with the first chapter or several chapters with the guy who's there who runs the thing. He's in a wheelchair. Turns out he's gay, and then he catches the. That's just a side note. That's why he never found love in life or something like that. And then it turns out he got this illness that turns him to stone or something. I don't remember the details. It's so long ago. And I didn't read past the first volume because I guess I was too young to really understand all of it, and it was just depressing. It's probably a good story because it's relatively long, but so it ran for quite some time, but was too tough for me at the age I read it, and it's just
Also, another thing about a lot of the jokes in Fullmetal Alchemist is they're really good shorthand ways to remind you about a character's feelings about things because of how the release schedule for the chapters go. Because like, this is something somebody's going to be like, a month later they're reading this. This is a really good way to remind people about how these characters act.
All right. I actually like this scene right now because I actually know these characters, and
oof.
Okay. Yeah. I think it wasn't Paradise Lost, it was something else.
Yeah.
And also, if you want things to be really, really funny, she has the omakes.
I wonder what he thinks is funny.
Okay, well, let's see what he has to say.
This is one of the things that but then I read the manga and realized that this stuff actually worked there. The real issue comes when you don't do anything to translate it into the anime form, which is why you have these supposed gags that really just feel forced or are awkward to watch. For a more recent offender, I do feel some of these gags were in the recent reboot for Fruits Basket. Dream sequences.
Whoa, that was fast. Oh, correct. Okay.
I watched the original Fruits Basket and some of the reboot. I can't think
Wait,
of
so
any
that was
jokes
his point?
like that either.
was his
The
point?
translation from manga to anime isn't very good for jokes. And you're like, okay, kind of, but not really.
I
They
can
were
understand
very
like
differently.
in a certain situation, but
When you
he didn't explain it. He just said it happened.
when you translate from manga to anime, you have to understand the style, because when they do things in Fullmetal Alchemist, they go to the chibi, weird looking, simple style, and it's like, oh, they're trying to be funny. It's like, we get it, yes, and they do that with manga like crazy. They pull out the camera as far as they can. They go, okay, draw big heads, and they're just talking like they're talking directly at each other, and that's the only thing in the universe, and that's the point.
I mean, like, a big character that did that was Armstrong. Most of the time, he's a comedy character, but he can pull off the dramatic scenes really well when he gets them.
Yeah. I also found the manga. It wasn't Paradise Lost. It was Eden.
Eden Lost?
No, just Eden.
Eden Lost. Oh shit!
When did that come
It's
out?
a sci-fi. It's a sci-fi thing. It's pretty old.
I think, yeah, during the 90s, I think I remember that one.
Well,
Jeez. Anyway,
That's tough stuff.
yeah. All right. Anyway,
What ifs? So confession time. I think it was like the first episode of One Punch Man that started with this dreamlike sequence.
this is not the first episode of One Punch Man. That's like
You had one.
that's like
I think that's the second one.
well, I think it's the second last one. Like it's way after.
I was looking anime pages. Where are we?
Yeah, when he's fighting the Rat King, not the Rat King,
The underground people in the dream.
and it's a dream to him. Then he wakes up and it's
What? That's in the second season or the third season or
it's
something?
later on.
No, it's in the first season. It's one of, like...
No, the underground people? No, that's a joke much later. Way
sure?
later. Yeah.
It's in, like, one of the first few episodes.
No, that's a thing much later where because then we know, because the first season is mainly establishing how strong he is. It's not yet going into how bored he really is. That's mainly hit home by the final fight. And after that, so the second season is mainly other characters, and after that we get back to
I just
back
looked
to
it up.
Saitama,
It is in episode 1.
the mole people.
It's in episode 1. In the manga, it's chapter 4.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't remember episode 1 like that. That's weird. Anyway, not important.
I think it's after he meets Genos, at least.
It's been a while since I've seen season 1 of One Punch Man.
It has been a while for me too.
Yeah, I thought this was much later in the series. I do remember season 1 had the.
I think they come back later. Maybe that's what you're thinking about, Wisp.
I was thinking.
I don't remember them being in season 1.
I remember the mosquito being like a few episodes in.
Nah, Mosquito is the first one too.
It's the mosquito is the same scenario as the moles. Same episode.
It's before it. It's not the same fight.
No. I realize that, but it's in the same episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first episode condenses like, I think, 5 chapters.
Oh, really? Jeez.
Yeah.
I remember
Well,
reading.
a lot of anime does that because chapters are really short.
Yeah, no, I remember reading the original, not the redone manga, the original manga with all this bad chicken scratches.
The webcomic.
The webcomic, whatever you call it. It's like, what am I reading? The original. So maybe I got lost with that, but oh, jeez.
Yeah, I think the first episode is the shopping trip, I think. Then he meets Genos, and then I think it's the subterranean people.
Okay, fair enough.
I might be wrong, though. I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah, don't worry.
A reason to rewatch it. If you can't remember so much, you can enjoy rewatching
That's
it.
a good point, yeah.
I mean, I rewatched the parody of it by Purple Eyes, One Punch Stand. It's really funny. I recommend it to anybody.
All right. We have less than a minute.
Punch Man finally getting a challenge and everything turning into this wasteland. Of course, by the end of the episode, you found out that none of this happened. You can let me know if this bugs you too, but for me it really just left this horrible taste. And it depends on how you do it, but this...
Why?
Oh, really? Okay.
It's great.
I thought this was much later. Yes, it's
Really?
awesome.
It's a really subjective criticism, especially since it's really important for Saitama's character.
Yeah, you want...
Yeah, I don't think it's a subjective criticism. It's just a stupid criticism.
Yeah, we want to
Because
see...
it doesn't have a valid point.
We want to see what's going on in this guy's head, and to do that in a visual way is what you use anime and manga for.
Yeah.
Even if it's a dream sequence, it's like, oh, it makes sense.
And the dream sequence isn't even technically the whole scene, because you have to have the sequence right afterwards where the subterranean people come out and they're all super fucking weak.
Yeah.
Because that finishes the punchline.
Yeah. Yes, it's a two-tier, two-level, two-phase joke.
We see this big setup for this amazing thing that's going to happen, and it's like, nope, it's not real. And then it does happen.
Yeah.
And it's so pathetic.
And the important thing, the important thing about it is that this dream shows us what Saitama wishes for. This is his yearning. A really big threat where he has to struggle. So it's comedy that tells us character depth.
I think I'm remembering a bit of it now. After this scene is when he starts dealing with the annoying fly that he can't kill. And that leads into him meeting Genos.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Pretty, I forgot this. I thought it was in season 3 or something.
This time it felt super cheap. And at the end of the day, it really just depends on execution. If one of these things is done really well...
It was drawn very well. I don't know what he's...
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was really
telling
good.
style's amazing.
It looks great, yes.
You're watching anime wrong. But seriously, you didn't understand the scene.
Or a trope.
Maybe
so
he's
definitely
blind.
Let me know. Did you find these annoying too? But Jerry, I could hear you. You missed this trope or this annoying cliche. So if there's any I missed, post it down below. As always, I will be reading your comments, and sometimes I like them if they're funny or they make me smile. Do smash a like if you want me to do the opposite video. Anime tropes or cliches that aren't awful. But anyway, I do apologize for getting...
I didn't point this out, but originally he said, oh, I get it, when a fan service happens in ecchi, it's fine. But then later he actually literally contradicted himself and said it's still not okay.
Yeah, and shows us ecchi. He shows us ecchi that an ecchi show that he complains about.
Oh.
I don't think this guy is as smart as he thinks he is.
Anyway, the video's done. Let's go to stream memes. That was...
He proved pretty early on that he's a fucking
fairly
guy.
common among Planetubers.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Oh, I must have missed some yesterday. Here's George Kell's JoJo's Mystery Box Adventure. I don't know. Or JJ's Mystery Box Adventure. Yeah.
Mystery Box.
That was a bad video. Mike Testa, Southpaw behavior in a nutshell. Okay, let's stop bad-mouthing Southpaw. BTAS bad because of soup? What? What the hell does that mean?
Goodbye, Mike Testa.
Now today.
Did that just happen?
When he first started criticizing Batman the Animated Series, he came out with it's stupid because Batman beats Mr. Freeze with a soup thermos.
What?
Oh.
Okay. I mean, I don't remember episode 1 of the animated series. I have to watch that.
It's not episode 1. It's one of the episodes that a lot of people say is really good. That's why he was pointing it out.
Oh, did he talk about the one with Clayface was it episode 2 or 4? I can't remember. I think it was episode 2.
I don't think he has yet.
Okay, because that is where they broke the budget. They wanted to really sell the show, and they spent so much effort drawing so many frames of animation just to get Clayface to morph around.
I still remember the ending of that episode.
Amazing episode. gorgeous.
Make it stop.
Oh god, yeah, it was great.
Voiced by Ron Perlman too.
I know. Kyle the Vampire God. Hey, Kyle. Side character, why are you letting the enemy reach full power? Main characters. So when I fold his ass, he can't say he was holding back. Side character. No, he's got a point.
He does. in certain situations, that is absolutely true.
Yeah.
There's no excuse.
Mic test again. I assume Mike wanted to watch the Ruby thing. Okay, guys, the reason why...
Mike Test is one of the guys that's in General Channel right now that they are all salty when you vetoed the Ruby video.
Okay, guys, the reason why
an explanation.
The reason why we're not watching the Ruby video is it was one fanboy gushing about one scene for about 8 minutes, and I sat there for 4 minutes going, I don't care. There's no criticism here. It's just, I like this character. I like that character. Let's pause and pat the animators on the back. And then I'm like, I don't, like, this is not analysis. This is just a guy describing what he's watching and liking it. I'm like, I don't see how this is relevant to anything.
At least the Linkara video was a bit better with that shit. That one is an actual critique.
Well, just get a good Ruby video and we'll cover it. It's all it takes.
Yeah.
Here's Hawk.
There you go.
The problem with boobs, you can't put your face in between all of them. All of them?
What is all of them?
I think your grammar broke down there, Hawk.
I assume he meant them.
Hawk, no.
He was thinking of boobs when he was finishing that last sentence, and he was like, just messed up.
The drunkenness kicked in.
Okay, so this is
I don't know how.
What is this?
That is really that is silly. That is a fetish I never understood.
Is she
Guys,
pregnant?
No.
Yeah.
I like the big ones, but this doesn't work.
Boobs are bad.
Yes.
The female subjects of our society shall not be represented in any objectifying manner. LiteratureDevil's cringy brother. Oh, don't show him that. He might actually do that as a parody.
Isn't that
Literature
technically
Angel.
Well,
He already done a parody
he
like
did that on April 1st, but
Isn't that technically Literature Angel? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Literature Angel.
Yeah.
so
Hello, welcome.
he made that character, but he made it like a Godelb sort of reaction. But he might even.
And there were SJWs who liked it.
Yeah, well.
They took it seriously. Yes.
Yep.
Speaking of letting the enemy power up. Oh, okay. I know what this is.
That's a show.
That's Fumofu.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. You see how he assembles a shotgun? That was really cool.
Well, it's a rubber
He
bullet.
puts it together and loads it.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, that's Fullmetal
Sagura
Panic.
Sagura is the only acceptable dense protagonist.
But the first season of Fullmetal Panic is more serious. It still has the silly tone, but it's in the subtext. It's between the lines.
It's a bit hard to grasp because she's...
And with Fumofu, after Fumofu, it gets just it does this stuff all the time.
She is an engineer or something that could figure out how to make mechs or something. I can't remember the bullshit.
Yeah.
No, she's related to someone really important, so he's her bodyguard.
No, the chick.
Yeah, but she can also magically interface with the super submarine or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand what's going on.
That's another show where it's been a while since I watched it, but
Yeah.
All right.
Dang, you
Here
guys
is.
watch these shows.
Oh, this is Eric. Sorry. What the hell? What is Eric? What is this? You're eating cake?
It's Ruby characters. Taking a selfie.
In front of MAGA,
And
really?
they're in a.
MAGA at a MAGA parade or
I
something?
guess I don't know.
This is strange.
Since you mentioned Fire Force Ina no Shobotai, Fire Force mangaka allegedly venting about feminist whining in new chapters. Oh. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Good for them. Do whatever you like.
I've seen a few videos about that.
An embarrassment
I haven't watched any of
of
them.
a woman in embarrassment. We can't even air this, not on a government broadcast. I'm
From
sick of
right
your
to
whining.
left.
If you hate skin that much, I've got something to show you.
You're reading it backwards, Smud.
I don't care.
Is it?
This is not a meme. This is a manga thing.
It's manga. Don't defile it.
Don't care. I hate funny jokes in anime, so thanks for nothing. Yeah.
Let's save the world with the power of sex appeal.
Thanks for nothing, SpongeBob.
All of us, the end of today's video. Ah!
Thanks for that.
Why didn't you use the triangle face, Gigaman?
Oh, what?
The little triangle face.
What triangle face? I don't know. I only know that one. That's the one I asked for.
Anyway, that was not bad. I like these weird takes on things. And some of those tropes you could argue are bad in some cases. He just did not do very good arguments, unfortunately. So
very little arguments at all.
Yeah, and stuff like talk no jutsu. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? That's not even a thing. I don't even recall.
This one.
It's a term, but it's like mostly contained to the Naruto community, so that's kind of why I have a problem with him bringing it up as an anime trope in general.
Can you imagine Naruto just kills people? He gets to that level, it's like, yeah, you're dead. Boom, done.
Well, it does happen. Like they did it with, I think his name is Toby, the guy with the mask.
Oh, but that's revealed. Like he's a super villain and whatever. But that's after we learned what he was, his backstory, a few flashbacks, his relationship with what's his face, Kakashi. How he brings back what's his face, and then he becomes him. It's like, oh my god, there's all this shit happening. There is no scene where Naruto just goes, oh, I went through all the trials. You're a bad guy. Knife to the throat. Goodbye. The end. Play end credits. Like, that doesn't happen. That's not what Naruto is about. So, I would hate it if he did that. That would be weird. So, anyway. Yeah, we're good. That was good. Not too long. Not too short. Over 2 hours. I like these little...
And you still feel sane?
Yeah, no, that was fine. I mean, subjective...
What'd you all learn today?
Well,
yeah. We
all have patterns in storytelling that we're aware of that irk us. As I said, the fantasy genre irks me, and some zombie stories are really dumb, and that's just how those genres are. But...
Fuck you, Eric. I just saw it.
What's that?
Eric, the one Eric was mentioning earlier, just posted it.
Well, there's a genre out there that you're not going to be completely happy with, and because you read so much or watch so much, you see patterns that get repetitive, and they go, okay, that's stale, that's boring. And
also, like this guy, sometimes it's completely a matter of taste, and you don't really have a real argument against it.
Right,
I would say don't put it in the video if that's the case,
like
though.
Breast physics. I'm like, I understand why it's done. It doesn't really bother me. But when you have characters who are magical dragons or magical elves from a foreign planet or universe, it's like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. That doesn't bother me. The story's not about that.
Well, it's funny because his channel is all about anime. So.
Yeah, anime has lots of great looking things. Cute girls, big tough guys, all kinds of crazy shit.
Oops.
Yeah, have fun, enjoy. That's why we draw it.
These tropes just need to die. I don't know.
I don't know. I would not want to kill any of these tropes, even the bad ones. Just write them better.
Especially
they all have their useful places if you do them well.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, guys,
watch the Slayers movies. They're well done.
Oh yeah, those are fun.
Okay.
Action, drama, comedy, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for listening. Always fun to talk about anime and manga and storytelling in general. Have yourself a great evening. We'll talk to you real soon.